Part 33C. Where are you on the flat Earth?
Are you okay? Ron. Ron, where are you?
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Well, Ron, you're pretty close. Not glass, ice. So, where are you on the small scale? You live on a flat plane. I know this isn't news to everybody that's on the site, but on the small scale, the plane, the planet that you live on is flat. That flat plane is in a confined system. And that system is this diagram from the primer fields. David LaPont has the correct structure of where we live on the very small scale. There's three main parts to this structure: the confinement dome, the flip ring, and the choke ring. The confinement dome is made out of ice. There's water in between in various sections of this. And where you reside in this structure is between the choke ring and the flip ring. Now take some time to read through this diagram again. And I know I'm not covering anything new. In this whole Where Are You section of this series, I have discussed this in multiple different videos, but I'm just putting it all together here so everybody can see the different levels. Now, within your plane, there are a lot of vast empty spaces that is depicted by water on a flat map, a flat Earth map. Well, most likely there's additional land out there that we don't know about. I do not believe that there's only the six main continents and Antarctica is just a ring. It's not a continent. Now, there are some things that are unanswerable in this. And here's an old Buddhist map. This was in a newspaper article in the around 1900, somewhere around there, talking about how the Buddhists had a map where there was continents on the outside. And this would not shock me at all because of the expansion aspect of the model. But I also believe that there's continents where the South Pacific, South Atlantic, and maybe even the South Indian Ocean. Now, the problem that you get into is you don't know how the structure is built outside. You don't know if it's a dome within a dome within a dome. And if that's the case, you would have extra stuff out there as far as land masses and everything. This is where I stop as far as going there because of the fact that we are very limited on what we can see within our structure, within the confinement dome, within between the choke and flip rings. I know that there's multiple dome structures that are stackable above us, hence the Atlantis thing. That we can see. It's the stuff outside of our confinement dome, which would go, outside of the Antarctic circle, is just pure conjecture. If you want to believe that there's more land out there and it keeps on going and it's just a larger disk, then that's fine. It doesn't really matter. Then you also have the option where they stack bottom to bottom, and they also stack top to top to make spheres. But again, the analogy I have used for years is like an ant that's living inside of an engine block of a car. The ant doesn't know that it's an engine block, and it certainly doesn't know that that engine block is a part of a car that's parked, in a garage or on a driveway with roads and houses and everything else around. The ant is only aware of that engine block that it's in. So there is a limit to what we will ever be able to find out. Okay, but what we do know is that it's a cell in an organism. Now, how each cell is built around our cell, um, it's tough to say, but I do think that it can be solved because of what they see after the changeovers, after the MCOs, when you get into the red sky golden age. Because what they see in the sky are Vajra like shapes. And I can't remember what part I discussed this in, but the Vajra takes the same shape as a neuron in a brain. And there's in Norse mythology, they call it Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge. And those are the little appendages that go between each neuron. So on this next slide, you'll see the breakdown. And if you look at the nucleus of the neuron itself, you can see that there's spherical structures in there built around each other. And that's how things grow. They just keep building upon each other. So, are we in that nucleus and the matter around it is transparent enough for us to see other neurons within that brain? But here's the reasons why I believe it's a brain. If you guys want to believe it's a heart or any other part of an organism, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. But there's a couple key characteristics of a neuron and a brain that makes me pretty sure that we're in a brain. One is the salt water for conductivity. Bioluminescence is one of the other major reasons. When the neurons get charged, they actually illuminate themselves. So that's bioluminescence, just meaning that light is created by a biological process. There are creatures in our world that do have bioluminescence. You basically have to get down to the deep dark regions of the ocean, and they create their own light. But just putting it in a context of a human form, the only thing in the human body that generates its own light is within the brain itself. Now, the main reason why I believe that that we're in the brain is because there's only one thing in nature they've ever found that's able to change electric current. The changing of the current during the MCO, changing the flow and the direction of the electrical current, can only happen in a brain, not just a human brain, any brain. So it's that changing of electrical current that the neuron makes and can happen. That's what leads me to believe that we're in a brain, along with the other two. And plus, when you get into the red sky, you will see neuron-like structures, and you can't see through the whole brain because there's gray matter and everything else, but you can see some illuminated stuff out there. Now, don't be confused. That's not the stars. That's not what the stars are at all. So the medium scale of where you are is that you're a cell within a body. Now, on the large scale, what is that body? Is it a human form? Is it some squid-like thing? Is it, a plant life? I mean, there's so many possibilities of what that thing could be. And again, there's no way of answering that. So, but if you understand that you're in a cellular structure, then you know that you're part of life. What that life is open to debate. And to me, it's not really that important. Just knowing that the structure that you're in, that structure is part of a cell, and that cell is part of a body, is, I believe, good enough to kind of get a grasp on where you are. You know, does that body, does it move? Is it stationary? How long has it been alive? All those questions are theoretical, philosophical questions that doesn't really mean anything with the predicament that we have coming up. Now, so that's where we are according to how I see it. I don't think the flat earth thing is even debatable. The cell thing I think is pretty solid, and within a body is pretty solid to me. Where, I mean, you can argue, but I'm pretty sure that it's a brain. So that's it. That's where you are. There's no vast distances of space. There's no, you know, galaxies, you know, floating around doing the silly things they see in the heliocentric model. Um, the summation of where you are is that you are on a flat plane in between the flip and choke ring where matter is produced at the base of a confinement dome that is made of ice. That's all part of a cell structure. That cell structure is in a body, and again, I believe that part of the body, and the most overwhelming evidence for that is the fact the electrical current changes in a neuron, and that's exactly what happens during the EMCO. Is the brain accessing memories during the EMCO? I don't know. That's all conjecture, and to me, it doesn't really matter. But that's all I have for today, and the next one will be up as soon as possible. Next video, part 33D. When are you on the flat earth?